Well, please welcome on stage to actually introduce the topics of this next session and to lead you through the next 1.5 hours. You've already seen her on stage. Please welcome her again with a lot of applause, Jane McLaughlin.
Hi, folks. Welcome back. I hope you have managed to get some coffee and some nice snacks. I wanted to just give a little bit of a short overview of the work that we've been doing with all of you over the last few months, and to set the context for the session that we're going to have this morning, where we're all going to get moving around in a few minutes, just after a short introductory presentation. So, our session here is called Peer-to-Peer City Exchanges. And as I said, I'm going to give a quick overview. So we have our workshop agenda here. As you can see, I'm going to give a quick introduction, and then we're going to get moving and do some workshopping around some of the particular categories and topics and themes that we've been identifying in our work with you so far. So I wanted to just start off by giving a little bit of context about the work that we've been doing recently. So we call this Support, Connect, Advise, or a year in the life of a city advisor working with 112 mission cities. So I'm sure you all know my absolutely amazing colleagues, the City Advisor team. There are currently 13 of us, but we're very excited that the team is actually growing. So we're soon going to have some more help. And some more, again, we have some new colleagues who are just, some of whom are here today who have literally started in the last couple of days. So we're very excited to have them join us. A very talented team with all sorts of different skills, and I'm sure you all know your city advisors already. And so the work that we do, just a quick refresher, for those of you in the room who may not be so familiar with us or who may be more recent to the program. We talk about that our role here is to support the cities in their journey towards climate neutrality, to connect you with each other, with other specialists in our program, to make all sorts of different connections that you might need, and also to advise you, so that can involve specific aspects of the program, all of the elements of the Climate City contract, through to letting you know about when pilot calls might be coming up, perhaps, and all sorts of other elements like that, and also to orchestrate, to work with you, to connect you with people, but also to bring you together, to provide opportunities to share and to learn and to really work in a very collaborative way with each other, within your cities, but also with other cities as well. So, the last few months, we've been quite busy, all of us, including everyone in this room. It's been quite extraordinary. We've had a few emails. But we did a quick count up on Friday, and we were really, it was quite remarkable to see the number of meetings and workshops that we've all been doing. And we really appreciate that everyone here in all the cities, we know how hard you work and how stretched resources can sometimes be. And we really appreciate that you've given us time and space to help us to understand where you are in your process, to help us to understand what you need and how we can support you with that. So thank you. And here's just a quick example of our SNAP workshops, which many of you are familiar with. So here we are online. Many workshops, lots of hours of really amazing work online. But then again, of course, there's nothing like this, is there? There's nothing like actually being in person. And so here we are. We've had a few of those as well. And it's been an honor and privilege, as I said before, to meet with many of you in your own cities, to learn about what you're doing there, and to really to get into really deep dive work with you together in those cities. And we hope to be able to do more of that as well in the future. So I just wanted to give you a quick picture. Many of you will remember this from the discovery meetings we all had together. This is our kind of octopus that we talk about, which really talks about our sort of initial meetings with you, and how we would go through a process. So we have our deeper dive workshops that we do, horizon mapping and City of Studio and all those. But I wanted to just highlight that this has built up around all of the things around it, show the work that the whole team in the consortium has been doing to say, well, okay, what else do we need to support you? What are the next stages of that? And so this morning we have in the orange box there, we have this session. This afternoon in the blue box, you'll see there's another policy exchange session, and I really recommend that session. I think it's going to be really fantastic. And that's coming out of this sort of work that we've been doing with you. Of course, you've heard already from my colleague Francesca about the summer schools, and that's a program that will be ongoing, and that's very much about building capability, and there will also be online modules for that as well. And of course, when new elements of the program come along, and we have different webinar series, and I think the colleague from Warsaw was asking about learning from other cities that have gone through the peer-to-peer, gone through the Climate City contract process. That's something we'll have ongoing webinar series around those sorts of things. So as you can see, this starts to build up a whole picture of how Net Zero Cities is working, and to listen to what you tell us and what you need, and then to build that up into a broader program. And I just wanted to give you a couple of points here. This is a very complex slide, I appreciate, and we will share this with you afterwards. But I just wanted to show you a little bit of the history of how we've worked through trying to understand what the city's needs are and what you're telling us at different times. So we began last May, where there was a report produced based on some survey work that was done with some colleagues, where they looked at some of the key priorities that you had identified. And then in the green there, we see these were things, we looked at the expression of interest applications, and we spent quite a lot of time looking at that and analysing what you had said and what were your key priorities there. And then in the pink, these elements are the new or additional elements that came out of the conversations we were having through the SNAP process, through the discovery meetings, and then the workshopping that we've been doing, where it's very much, those workshops are very much about, we sort of talk about them being an opening conversation. It's to surface and identify lots of things that might be going on that we might be able to sort of provide additional support and resources for. And then on the far side here, what you see is this is how we're responding to those needs, and also what we're committing to next in that process. So you can see, one of the things that came through really strongly through all of these communications with you was you said you wanted to work, at the pace that suited each city. And I was just having a conversation about this. Everyone is working at different speeds, and that's completely as it should be. We're here to work with you the way that you want to work. Peer-to-peer is really incredibly important. So we're thinking about creating different structures, different ways of doing peer-to-peer collaboration, connections, and sharing. And the session that we're about to do this morning is very much an example of that. Then we also had, the need for tailored support from my colleagues in the City Advisor team and myself, as well as bringing in our specialists who are particularly focused in certain areas, as Anthony was describing a little earlier. And then we have, elevating core policy issues for collaborative work, but also to elevate them for discussion even up towards the Commission. So this afternoon we have our policy exchange session. Again, I think that's going to be a really great example of that, and that's been driven in part by some of the cities in the Nordic capital cluster, and we're really, really honoured that they were able to sort of highlight some of these issues to bring it to the attention. Then in these darker green areas, we have some things where these are the things we're really looking to focus on next with you. Private sector engagement, in terms of working with the private sector, whether it's actually engaging with them, whether it's really getting them to commit to your Climate City contract as well, and getting them to commit as partners in your process, in your transition teams, to make their own commitments to their own emissions, but also to work with the city to help the broader city with its own emissions as well. Then we have help with processes to support tangible innovation. Again, this is something that we're going to be seeing more of as we move into the implementation phase of all of the work that's happening. And then this last one is something that's really coming up a lot, and we wanted to really keep surfacing this as well, which is climate narratives and the difficult conversations. I think we all are in this room are acutely aware of the need to find ways to have those conversations across the aisles, across different, the different spectrums in our communities, with our stakeholders. And particularly when, as we move towards 2030, some of those conversations might get more difficult. So for us, we feel that this is something we want to work with you to really help each other to understand how to have that sort of conversation and how to move beyond where there may be blockages because of the difficult nature of the subject. So in terms of what's next, really it's sort of over to you. We'd love to spend as much of this time as we can talking about our actual, the actual topics and a time for you to talk as well. So I just wanted to give a quick picture of what we've been doing. So all of those 750 meetings and hundreds of workshops and all that sort of stuff, what we as a team have been doing is looking at the things you've identified and basically clustering those into topics and themes and identifying where there are connections with the different things that are coming up. And so what we've done is we have these 6 key areas. So you see, for example, here we have, issues related to emissions and more technical aspects about decarbonization and so forth. Obviously, absolutely crucial to what we're doing here. Then we have sort of planning and spatial and transport kind of questions there as well. And then we have, here we have as well our sort of district level approach. And this is something we're hearing a lot. And so we know that that's something that has been raised as a sort of discussion point. And again, there's some factors within that. Then we have governance and engagement and narrative. And narrative's a very important part of that process. So again, there are a lot of subtopics there to consider. Then we have finance and procurement, of course, absolutely crucial and incredibly complex. And again, a lot of topics to discuss in that sector as well. And then our last one is a slightly other sort of category because there's many, many things we want to talk about. Some of these can include, the connections and the interaction between, for example, the mission for climate neutral and smart cities, and then the adaptation mission or other missions within the European Commission program. But it also, there are many things we're starting to have conversations with you where you're really talking a lot about open data and how that could help in the journey. And some of the people in this room are world leaders in that sort of area, and so we really look to you to learn and to work with you on that sort of subject. As well, of course, as things like the areas that are beyond your own competence. So where many of the issues that you address are actually going outside of your own city administration boundary, but it's really important that you have mechanisms to look at multi-level governance and to support collaborative working across those boundaries. So those 6 focus areas we've identified, and then those subsections within it. And peer-to-peer. So what we're going to do here is I'm now going to introduce my colleague, Adriana O'Phelan, who's from Democratic Society. And Adriana is very kindly going to come and introduce the actual workshop that we're going to do. Come on up. I'll do this if you want to talk.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be here with you all and also to invite this peer-to-peer exchange. So what are we going to be doing now is that we are going to be exploring together these different themes, as Jane was presenting. And you are going to be situating yourselves in the theme that moves you more, that you really are inspired to talk about. And we're going to have 2 rounds. During the first round, please choose the one to say, oh, I really want to talk about this. So go to that table and talk about that theme. So each theme has 5 different tables. So what I'm going to do next is going to be introducing the different themes. First one theme, and also looking at this space where they are situated. So you have an idea where they are at, okay? And then you can move to your preferred table. And you're going to find one facilitator for each table. So move. You're going to have around 30 minutes to have that exchange. And then I'm going to call the second round. So it's going to be inviting for a second round, and you can then choose another theme or just move to another in the same theme, but to discuss another topic. So it's up to you. These transition moments are going to be a little bit chaotic, but it's normal. But the main thing that I want you to stay with is that it's the moment where you can exchange with other cities. So if you are sitting together with your partner, with your colleague, try to distribute and being with other cities, okay? So I'm going to be calling the different themes. The first one is emissions. So my colleagues that are with the emission table, please stand up. Stand up. Yes, and say, I am the mission person. So you see here you have Anthony, Nikhil, and yes, there are my colleagues here. The second one is governance. So please, my governance colleagues, please, you see them here. Domenico, Luis. Yes, they are here, the governance people are here. Then we have the finance and procurement colleagues. Please stand up, the finance and procurement. Ryan is there all by himself, but where are my other Akias here, Joost?
And me as well.
Yeah, wonderful. So those are the finance people. Then we have planning and spatial transport. Planning and spatial. Here are my colleagues with wonderful, like Anna is here, Brooke is here, Vlatka, wonderful. Then we have the district level topic. My colleagues with district level topic, Francisco is there, Jacob, Nilofer, Kira, and Anna, I'm Svea, yes. And the last, but not least, is the other topic, like going beyond city competence, open data, other missions. So please, my colleagues with this other topic, please stand up. Wonderful. So you can see them. Now, the chaotic moment. So please stand up and distribute yourselves and look for the theme that moves you most, that you want to really, really be speaking about today, okay? And let's do it with velocity, guys. Wonderful.